Okay, so we're going to dive into this Pixel 9 Pro Fold thing, right? You sent me all this stuff, and it seems like everyone's wondering, is this the one? Like, is this finally the phone that gets us to ditch our regular phones for good?
It's crazy, right? We've come a long way from those first, clinky folding phones.
Yeah.
This Pixel 9 Pro Fold, I mean, it almost seems kind of elegant, almost.
Okay, elegant maybe, but this camera bump has got everyone talking. I mean, come on, this thing's packing more junk in the trunk than like a Kardashian on vacation, I don't know, am I being too harsh?
Well, it's a choice. Let's just say that. But if we're being serious for a sec, the design is kind of all over the place. Like, that camera bump is dividing people, yeah. But you gotta admit, making the phone slimmer and giving it that matte finish, that's smart. Who wants to try and hold on to a slippery phone with one hand anyway?
Yeah, especially if you're trying to, like, hail a cab while holding your coffee and walking your dog at the same time. Which, honestly, that's like peak multitasking for most of us, let's be real.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's where these little design choices come in. See, they got rid of the rounded edges they had on the last model. People said those made it easier to open with one hand, but this new design, it's supposed to be sleeker, easier to fit in your pocket.
All right, so less fumbling, more function. Got it. But hold on a sec, didn't they make that outer screen, like, way bigger? Doesn't that create a whole other set of problems?
You're not wrong. This Pixel 9 Pro Fold's rocking a 6.3-inch outer screen. That's huge. It's practically a mini tablet glued to a phone. Makes you wonder if you'd ever even need to unfold the thing.
Right. Like, doesn't that defeat the whole point? Half the fun of a folding phone is getting to unfold it. Like, excuse me, I'm just gonna unfold my future right here.
I hear you. It's like they're trying to make this phone two things at once. A normal phone when it's closed, and then this productivity beast when it's open. The question is, can it really pull it off?
Okay, so this phone is like two phones in one, right? We got a sleek phone, and then bam, tablet time. But is that big inner screen all it's cracked up to be?
Well, it sounds pretty impressive on paper, right? 8 inches of screen, almost no bezels, super bright. It's like having a tiny movie theater in your pocket.
Okay, but like actually using it though. Can I really bust this thing out on the train and edit a spreadsheet? Or am I gonna look like a total weirdo?
That's the big question, isn't it? But get this, Google's really leaning into the software side this time. They've loaded it up with features just for multitasking on that big screen. We're talking multiple windows, drag and drop, picture-in-picture. It's like they're trying to make phone-tablet hybrids a thing.
So like I could be emailing my grandma on one half of the screen and then like crushing it in my fantasy football league on the other half. Now that's what I call progress.
See, you get it. The potential is there, but there's always a but, right?
Yeah.
One of the sources mentioned they decided to skip the LTPO thing on the outer display.
LTPO, is that like a fancy coffee order or something?
Right. It stands for low temperature polycrystalline oxide. Basically, it's a type of screen tech that uses less power for always-on displays, like for your clock or notifications.
Ah, got it. So they're giving us all this multitasking power on the inside, but then maybe sacrificing battery life on the outside. That's kind of rough.
Yeah, it's a trade-off for sure. Speaking of trade-offs, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the camera. Because having a phone that folds is cool and all, but if the camera's garbage, nobody's gonna want it.
Okay, so camera time. Because let's be real, nobody wants blurry selfies, even if their phone folds in half. Do they have to like skimp on the camera to make this whole folding thing work?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? And from what I'm seeing, it seems like the answer is maybe a little bit. Don't get me wrong, the camera's not bad, but it doesn't sound like it's as amazing as the one on the regular Pixel 9 Pro.
Okay, so like in English this time, what does that mean for people who want to, take a nice picture of their lunch?
Basically, the sensors in the Pixel 9 Pro Fold's camera are smaller, and smaller sensors mean they capture less light, so you might not get as much detail, especially in darker settings.
So my delicious tacos might not look as delicious in photos. That's a tragedy. Okay, maybe not a deal breaker, but definitely something to think about, especially at this price point. Speaking of which, talk about the brains of this operation. How's that Google Tensor chip holding up? Can it handle all this folding and multitasking and food photography?
The Tensor G4, it's no slouch. But looking at these reviews, it doesn't seem like it's the most powerful chip out there. If you're really into hardcore gaming or heavy-duty video editing, it might not be enough.
So maybe not the best for editing your next big movie on the bus?
Probably not, no. But for everyday stuff like multitasking or even some light creative work, it should be fine. Although this does bring up something interesting about, the future. Google's promising 7 years of software updates for this phone. 7 years, that's wild.
Hold on, gotta be a but coming.
Right. Will the Tensor G4 be able to keep up for that long? Will it still feel fast and smooth 7 years from now? Who knows?
So maybe the real upgrade isn't even here yet.
Mhm.
Maybe it's all about what those future chips will be able to do.
It's true. The tech is moving so fast, it's exciting to think about.
Makes your head spin, right. Okay, so bottom line. To fold or not to fold? What's the verdict? Is this Pixel 9 Pro Fold the phone to end all phones?
Honestly, it depends. If you're the kind of person who always needs the latest and greatest tech, even if it means, dealing with a few hiccups along the way, yeah, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold could be pretty tempting.
But if you're happy with your current phone and you're not quite ready to give up a good camera or worry about what might happen a few years down the line,
And then maybe it's best to wait and see what they come up with next time.
solid advice. Well, folks, there you have it. We took a deep dive into this Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and it sounds like it all comes down to this. Are you ready to embrace the fold? And are you ready to pay for it? Big questions. Anyway, I'm going to go try and take some non-blurry pictures of my lunch now. We'll be back next time with another deep dive. So until then, keep those screens shining, whether they fold or not.